About the OLAP guidelines. In this first is all the generic dimensionality. That is, the data entered should be equivalent to the structure and the operation requirements. So that's about the generic dimensionality. And the second thing is about the dynamic sparse matrix handling, which means the OLAP should be able to manage the sparse matrix and so maintain the level of the performance. So that's why we are utilizing the dynamic sparse matrix handling. And the third thing is all about the multi-user support. Here the OLAP should allow the several user working concurrently to work together. And the final one is all about the unrestricted cross-dimensional operation, which means the OLAP tool should be able to perform the operation across the dimensions of the cube. How without the restriction, how that has been mapped, how the operations is performed. That's the main criteria over here. So it's all about the dimensionality. First is generic one, everyone can be utilizing it. Then next is the dynamic, how dynamically multi-level the performance has been taken care. And next is the multi-user support. So together how concurrently they are utilizing the same OLAP purpose. And final one is about the unrestricted cross-dimensional performance. So without restriction, how we are performing with across the dimensions of the cube. And next is all about the initiative data manipulation. So here the manipulation taken care, the consolidation path, reorientation, drill down across the columns or rows, zooming out, and other manipulation inherent in the consolidation path outlines should be accomplished via direct action upon the cells of the analytical model, and should neither require the use of a menu nor multiple trips across the user interface. So it's about the initiative data manipulation. And next is the flexible reporting. Here in the flexible reporting, it is the ability of the tool to present the row and column in the manner suitable to be analyzed. And next is the unlimited dimensions and aggregation level. This depends on the kind of business where multiple dimensions and defining hierarchies can be made over here. So these are all the process of the other guidelines. In addition to that, we'll be having these to be support for the OLAP system. The first is about the comprehensive database management tool, which means this gives the database management to control the distributed business. And the second is the ability to drill down to detail source record level, which requires that the OLAP tool should allow smooth transitions in the multidimensional database. And the third is the incremental database refresh. The OLAP tool should provide the partial refresh. And the final is the structured query language, that is SQL interface. The OLAP system should be able to integrate effectively in the surrounding enterprise environment. So this is all about the guidelines of the OLAP. Thank you.
Dimensions and measures in regard to OLAP modeling. These terms can be confusing if you're not an experienced modeler. Today we'll be looking at cubes, what they are, and how they're used in OLAP modeling. So, what is a cube? A cube is a multi-dimensional data set. Cubes can hold data, collect data from users, and be used to calculate data as needed. A cube's data structure can be imagined as a multi-dimensional spreadsheet. Dimensions are what's used to form cubes. We'll cover dimensions more in depth in another video. Most of us can imagine a one-dimensional spreadsheet quite easily. You create one every time you create a list, like a list of book genres, quarters, regions, or products. Now, a two-dimensional spreadsheet is also quite easy to imagine. For example, suppose you are tracking monthly sales in the columns and genre sales in the row. That's two dimensions, one for time and one for genre. And in this example, sales is something called a measure. Analyzing 3 or more dimensions, however, can be tricky to imagine. So let's say you're the owner of a bookstore. You might have a spreadsheet where you track monthly sales in the columns and sales per genre in the rows, but that's only a 2-dimensional analysis. Now let's imagine that you're the manager of multiple bookstores. You might have multiple spreadsheets with the same dimensions, but for each store. Now you're analyzing 3 dimensions. 1 for time, 1 for genre, and 1 for region. Using this visual, it's easy to see how this dataset can be called a cube. But despite this name, cubes can contain more than 3 dimensions. Dimensions by themselves don't really provide as much insight into data. But when combined into a cube, they are powerful tools for data analyses.